Okay, so if you know two elements are going to come together to form an ionic compound, it's pretty easy to figure out their formula, or their chemical formula, and their name. And you'd know that they're going to form an ionic compound if you're dealing with a metal and a non-metal, something from the left of the table and the right of the table. So we've got potassium, which is K, and we've got oxygen, which is O. And from their position in the periodic table, you should be able to figure out that K will form a 1+ charge when it's an ion, and O will form a 2- charge. And through the very simple concept of crisscross applesauce, I bring the 2 from the oxygen charge down to the subscript for the potassium, and the 1+ charge becomes a 1 subscript, but we don't write 1 subscripts, and so in the end I get K2O as the chemical formula for the compound made between potassium and oxygen. That way I have 2 plus charges, each one is only 1+, and that will balance out the 2- of the oxygen. If I do the next one, calcium, I should be able to figure out that it forms a 2+ ion, and nitrogen forms a 3- ion. So again, let's carry down the 3 over here and the 2 over here, and so Ca3N2 is the formula. One important note about this is that if they balance, so with number 4, magnesium is 2+ and sulfur is 2-, I don't bring the 2's down because they're already balanced. So I wouldn't want to say Mg2S2, because ionic compounds, we're not actually doing their full formula, because they're actually these large networks, these large crystals with many, many, many millions of ions. So all we're ever giving is the empirical formula, the lowest ratio. And so instead of 2-2 or 3-3, I should always just give 1-1 when the ion charges are balanced. So you always want to double check at the end you've simplified the ratio. If you had one where it was 2 and 4, you would want to simplify down to 1 and 2 for the subscripts. So just a final thing to watch for. In terms of naming, really all you have to do is change the name of the non-metal. And the convention is to give the ending an "-ide" to imply that it's now in its ion form. So metal ions don't actually change their name. So for the example here is that calcium is still called calcium, potassium is still called potassium, but oxygen becomes oxide, and chlorine becomes chloride, and so on. So this first compound that I've drawn up here, K2O, we would call potassium for K, and then oxide for oxygen. The next one is calcium nitride, and so on. Okay, so those are the rules, pretty straightforward. You can try the rest.